Good evening, all. So, today's topic is regional organizations. In this regional organizations, we will deal about SARC and the ASEAN today. Okay. So, to understand what is SARC and ASEAN, first of all, we will understand the meaning of regional organizations. What are they? So these regional organizations actually marks a great significance of regional groupings. So what is region? Region is nothing but a piece of land or a part of a country that appears in a geographical basis. So where this present contemporary politics, it marks a kind of hallmarks towards this significance of regional groupings of where various it has a great various scopes and it has a various natures in their own sense here. So the growth of this regional organizations, it became so much important, it became so much significant in the post Second World War time, means after the Second World War. Besides this, there are like geopolitical, economic, and neo-colonial limitations. So those things that were not capable to cope with, they were not able to cope with this complexity that was happening in the power politics at the international level, and there were difficulties that were there with the difficulties that were there within those region parts, and they had those regional problems itself. There were a lot of difficulties that were going at that time. So, uh, with the regional problems and with the politics, they were like smaller countries. They formed this regional organizations. This is how we tend to get those regional organizations in the international relations here. So, this regional cooperation is a very great way of tackling or seeing those economic problems uh, of the problems of those economic development. And there was also it has made its great contributions towards the bargaining power under those developed and the developing regions of this third world. Third world is nothing but the country that was made after the Second World War, and the country, the newly colonialized country that came into being independent, and they came into picture, and thus they were happened to become the third world. And with this increasing bargaining power of those underdeveloped and the developing regions in this third world, that has developed this north countries, we know those are the capitalist countries, and yes, they have reduced the dependence on those with this picture of regional organizations with the developing countries coming into picture. And we see this with through this regional corporation, it has reduced the dependence of those developing or the underdeveloped countries to be less dependent on the industrialized north here. So first we will see what is SARC here. Okay, so first to understand this SARC, we need to understand this South Asia, because SARC comes in the South Asian region here. Okay, so this South Asia, it's one of the major important region in the Asia, South Asia. So in the within this South Asia, we have seven countries. Those countries are Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and the Sri Lanka here. So these countries actually they possess approximately up to the one-fifth of the total population of the world here. They contribute one-fifth of the total population of the world here. Okay, these seven countries. So these seven countries, they have a very common history, they have a very common culture and a civilization since the start of the Vedic period here, and also they have the lot of similarities in these regions among those religion, customs, and the conventions. If you see in India, we have Hinduism, and you can see in Nepal also, we tend to see there is Hinduism. Likewise, there is a similar culture and a similar um, what's say customs, and there are many similar social factors as such. So these nations uh, has actually become independent in the middle of the 20th century. So these nations actually faced the common problems. Those were relating to the economic, social, and the political fields here. So these countries basically were exploited by the then British government during its regime. So in this recent times, if we see, these countries are still facing the social and the cultural problems along with the economic problems also. Why? Because we tend to see there is a growth in the population. So that's what it is necessary to solve all these problems that are related with the South Asian countries. So this has marked this common problems, to solve these common problems has marked the beginning of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, which is the SARC. That has been made a big major experiment in the international relations. So now let us see the formation of the SARC here. Okay. So this SARC was established on a charter that was adopted on the 8th December 1985 by its headquarters were situated in the Bangladesh, in the states of Bangladesh, or the government of Bangladesh, Bhutan. It was actually adopted by the heads of the states. Sorry, not headquarters. It was started by the heads of the states. Who are the heads of the states? Like government of Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and the Sri Lanka. These countries has adopted this SARC. And in April 2007, there was an initiative of India, Afghanistan that has become the eighth member, um, where this was the initiative where this Afghanistan has become its eighth member here. Okay, so now if we see, these are the members. There are few observers also. These observers are the Australia, China, European Union, Iran, China, Mauritius, Myanmar, South Korea, and the United Nations. Sorry, United States here. So this South Asian neighbors, they actually try to take those initiations towards their regional corporations, because they are coming from one same region, and they wanted to have mutual cooperation in between them. So this has begun from the 1980s under the initiative of President Ziaur Rahman of the Bangladesh in the 1980s. Okay. So, what happened between this 1970 and the 1980s? Ziaur Rahman has paid visit to Nepal, Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka, so that he could concentrate the idea, he could focus on the idea of cooperation among those South Asian neighbors. So, if you observe in the map, these are all the neighbor states. These lie beside each other. Okay, so there were like several foreign secretary level meetings were followed at the first meeting. Okay, so at Delhi in the August 1983, it was held. A meeting, several meetings were at the secretary level. It was held, and this meeting, where this foreign ministers has adopted this declaration of SARC, and in this meeting only they also launched a program called IPA, which is the Integrated Program of Action. Okay, so this is integrated program of action in the 9 agreed areas. So these areas are nothing but the cooperation. They should cooperate under this agriculture, communication, education, culture, sports, environment, and meteorology, health, the population activities, and the rural development. So in this meeting, they have agreed upon this in these areas of cooperation under the switch program, under the integrated program of action, which is called the IPA. These are the 9 agreed areas. So let us now see the what are the objectives of the SARC. So as a part of regional cooperation, they wanted to, the objective of SARC is to promote the welfare of the South Asia, and so they could improve their quality of life as well, because these South Asian countries are the developing countries and the newly emerged countries as such. So they wanted to, another is to accelerate to have the economic growth, social progress, and the cultural development within this South Asian region. And they should provide the opportunity so that every person, whoever is living, must have to live with the dignity, and they could realize their own capabilities, their own potentials. To promote and to strengthen the self reliance among those countries, they could self reliance, they could produce their own things, they could create something of their own, is what they have promoted, and they wanted to strengthen that self reliance idea. Another objective is the mutual strength. As being a part of a neighbor, they wanted to, as a objective of SAR, they wanted to contribute for the mutual trust, understanding, and the appreciation of the one another's problem. Each country should solve one another problem, and they should understand, and there must be a trust in one another problems as such. Okay. Next, it has to promote active collaboration. It should join, it wanted to promote the collaboration. Collaboration is nothing but joining with the one more country, and it should have mutual assistance, going, benefiting, going together in the economic, social, cultural, and the technical and the scientific fields here. Next objective here is to, they wanted to strengthen the developing cooperation with the other developing countries. Okay, not only this, apart from those member countries, to strengthen, next is to strengthen cooperation among the, among themselves. All these member states among themselves, they wanted to have a great strength, great cooperation in the international forums or on the matters. There will be forums, there will be summits that would be conducted in the international uh, dialogue on those common interests. What their common interest will be, mainly the economic growth here. So they wanted to cooperate among themselves in this international forums. Okay. Next is to cooperate with the international and the regional organizations with the similar, with the same aims and the purpose. Likewise, I said that main common goal would be the economic growth here as well. So they wanted to, the objective is to cooperate with the international and also with the regional organizations here. Okay. Next, we'll see the principles of the SARC here. So one is that they should cooperate. The basically SARC works on the principles on respect of sovereign equality. There should be a supreme equality, everybody is equal there, and the territorial integrity, respecting each other's territorial integrity and the political independence. You are not involved in any other political matters there, and the politics should be independent, and there is non interference in the internal affairs of the other states, and should be mutual benefited. They must be mutual benefited. This is what the principles the SARC works. Next is, such cooperation, it should complement, it should join with the, and it should help, and it should not substitute. There should not be another country or the member state coming on behalf within this bilateral or the multilateral corporations here. Okay, such corporations should be consistent, should be within the same page, should be on the same level with those, and it should be consistent. It should be in a, with the same level with those matters relating to the bilateral and the multilateral obligations of those member states here. Next, the decisions at those uh, all levels in the bilateral um, decisions at those levels in the SARC, it should be taken on the basis of unanimity. Unanimity is nothing but the agreement of all those people of those member states here. And here, if you see the bilateral and the contentious harming, whichever that is harming, are those issues are excluded from those deliberations of the associations. So these are the principles of the SARC. Now we'll understand the organizational structure. If you see, the structure is like this: the summit, then comes Council of Ministers, Standing Committee, Technical Committees, and the other meetings. So in the summits, so they actually meet annually once in a year, and This charter requires the heads of the state governments so that they should meet once in a year. So far, they were like 18, like they took like 18 months to have this summits take place properly. So to date, there were like 18 meetings that was held in Dhaka in 1985, Bengaluru 1986, Kathmandu 1987, Islamabad 1988, Malé 1990, Colombo 1991, Dhaka 1993, New Delhi 95, Malé 97, Colombo 98, Kathmandu 2002, Islamabad 2004, Dhaka 2005, Delhi 2007, and Colombo 2008, and Thimphu 2010, and Adu City 2011, and Kathmandu 2014. So these were the so far 18, and the 19th summit of this SARC that was about to held in Islamabad on November 15 to 16 in 2016. It was scheduled. Who Pakistan was actually scheduled to host this, where in the 2016, where India, including with Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka and Maldives, they themselves declared that they will not attend the SARC summit because of the Uri attack that was happened in the year 2016. So that's what Pakistan has postponed the SARC summit, and that has announced the new dates here. The Council of Ministers, this council is actually responsible to formulate, to implement the policies, and they should review, they should go through the progress, how well they are developing, and they should decide on the new areas of cooperation where we can go with a good cooperation. They should establish additional mechanisms, new working spheres that is meant to be necessary, and that should be demand, that should be decide on the general interest of the whole member states. So this council meets 2 times a year, and actually held 22 regular sessions till 2002 January. So this commemorative session of the council at first decade of this SARC that was held in New Delhi on December 18, 1995. Uh, During this uh, um, 16th session of the Council of Ministers here. Okay, next we have the Standing Committee. So this actually comprises of the foreign secretaries of those member states that are given with the task to monitor, to coordinate with the programs, and they have to modulate of, they have to check the financing, and they are should determine the internal sectoral priorities, what are those they are going with the, and they have to mobilize with the regional and also the external resources, what are their available sources, and they should identify the new areas of cooperation as well. Okay, so this actually meets twice a year, and this submits its report to the council ministers. And this committee has held this 27 regular sessions till 2002 January, and there were two special sessions as well here. Next comes the technical committees. These committees, these are the committees where there will be representatives from the member states that come towards, and they formulate and they implement those programs, and they prepare for the projects that are there in their respective fields, which actually make up those IPA, integrated program of action, under this SARC here. So these are actually responsible to see, to check, to monitor the implementation of this activities, and they have to submit their reports to the standing committees. So there were actually 11 technical committees that was happened under the chairmanship. Under the chairmanship, that chairmanship actually rotates towards all those uh, member states in a alphabetical order. Now, uh, if alphabetical order, you know, right? So it goes in such a way, the chairmanship, and it orders in every 2 years. Other meetings are nothing but there were apart from this, there were several other meetings that was held, and that has focused attention on the specific common areas, common concerns, and that has become an integral main part of this structure here. So they were various meetings of planners that was held so far, and this was initiated with the cooperation in the matters of trade, manufactures, services, basic needs, human resources development, database, energy modeling techniques, plan modeling techniques, and the poverty alleviation strategies. These were on these topics. There were the other meetings that were held, and the ninth SARC that was decided that those environmental ministers should meet annually. So now we'll see. In within the SARC, we have the secretariat that was established on Kathmandu on 16th January 1987. Its role is actually it has to coordinate and to monitor the activities of the SARC here. Okay, and the services it has to monitor the how the services of those meetings of those associations are going on, and how well they are serving, and how it the serving of those communication between the SARC and the other international, apart from regional, apart from SARC we have number of other organizational or other organizations in the international diaspora. Okay, so it checks how the channel of communication is going on. So headquarters, the secretariat is the headquarters here that has been increasingly used for venue of the SARC meetings here. Okay, so the ninth SARC summit, Male 1997, that has decided that the tenure of the general should be of 3 years. Okay, so, where the directors are appointed by the Secretary General upon the nominations that are been sent by the member states for a period of 3 years. Okay, so they are appointed for a period of 3 years, and that could be extended by the Secretary General in special circumstances. Not every time, in certain timings, so that the period could not exceed to another full term. Okay. Next, we have SARC finances. So, SARC finances, if you see in the national budgets, the member states actually makes the provisions for the national budgets for the national financing activities and the programs that come under this SARC framework, and they contribute for the secretariat budget for those regional institutions here. And this financial provision, it should be announced annually at the meeting that has been done by the standing committee. The annual budget here, if you see, it is both for the capital and also for the expenditure that is being shared by those all the member states, and that is thus that finance is actually agreed on a agreed formula. Okay, that is done on the agreed formula. Okay, so the cost of this building of the secretariat together with all those facilities and the equipments and the buildings, annex buildings that was completed in the 1993, that was met by His Majesty's government of Nepal. That was happened in the 1993. Okay. So slow progress of regional cooperation. So why is the slow progress of regional cooperation? Because if you see, realized every countries in the South Asia has realized their need for the cooperation, and that progress with that need for the cooperation has been very quite slow, and this has attributed for the differential approaches within their attitudes and the perceptions and of those countries. So that was been quite natural that there was a very different socio-economic character that was happening, and there was also a very geopolitical strategic objectives also within those countries of the region. For example, if we see, this Bangladesh has favored for the cooperation in the economic sphere that has actually extended to the social and the cultural spheres here. And then Sri Lanka, on the other hand, it has pleaded for the cooperation and the favor for those cooperation towards the political fields. Okay. And if you see, initially, Pakistan's attitude was more restrained also, and it actually wanted the regional cooperation to be limited here only to the 4 out of 11 areas in the Bangladesh working paper here. So, Whereas this Pakistan's foreign secretary actually it said that we will move forward with a measured manner, not at a once, one by one they wanted to go in that manner. So if we see, however, the Pakistan's attitude also has become little flexible over a period of time. Then if you see, there was also India's approach on towards that was little identical to little of the Bangladesh, similar to the Bangladesh, and it has also laid emphasis, it has also laid importance on the cooperation in the cultural, infrastructural, scientific, and the technological fields as such. And that has actually refrained, that has been uh, meant out to be from making any such references that are led for the political or security objectives that has been came out. So here there was also Bangladesh that was consistently going for the evolving of some institutional frameworks here. Sri Lanka has also gave its emphasis on the need for this establishing so that they could promote and safeguard the interest of the institutional framework here. Nepal actually also too favored this institutional framework. So to that, so could it have a regional cooperation. And on the other hand, India and Pakistan too favored this institutional framework. So which has actually made as they were making or showing the interest towards this regional institutional framework, it has got an enthusiastic response on the international in an informal forum. Okay, next we'll see the achievements and the future prospects. Despite you see how slow they were going, there were many workings that has been established by the SARC and that has made a peace in this region as such. Though there were conflicts also, it has tried to bring out the peace here. They were through this SARC only, it not only played an active role, but also it has resolved many differences among its members. And it is well known that in the meetings of this Dhaka in Bangladesh, that has actually provided opportunities for the leaders of India and Pakistan and also Sri Lanka so that they could make out give out their differences and they could contribute and they could be reduction they could reduce the tension between those states. You know how they have these states have the differences and whereas SARC played a very great role in the reduction of this tension between these states as such. Okay, now if you see, this South Asian Regional Corporation has been so far from the EEC, Economic European Economic Council here, and the Asian that has been reached. It has been gone so far from these things also, and it has even this EEC and the Asian summits. They have actually Asian organizations that has took many years so that they could uh, shape the present atmosphere. But this has made a little good achievement here. So, if instead of all those disparities that are there in the regional various member states, that has actually made for the growth of true cooperation among the member states, India, in contrast to that, in comparison to the other countries, it's not only a very large in size, but also it possesses a very disproportionate, actually, sorry, disproportionate natural resources here. They are abundant and they are not, they are abundant within a great proportions here, the natural resources. So, as a result, what happened? The smaller states they actually suffer from the membership of the SARC because that could have to depend on this region. In spite of these shortcomings, they were like SARC. It has tried to promote the welfare of the people so that they could achieve the economic growth, social progress, and the cultural development. And it has also contributed for the true understanding, and there was an appreciation of one's another problems. Problems in the sense like you are cooperating with the another country here. So that's what it has also tried for strengthening the cooperation between the other developing nations as well. Now we will see what is ASEAN, Association for Southeast Asian Nations. So that was formed by the governments of Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and the Thailand through how through the Bangkok Declaration that was signed by the foreign ministers of these Asian countries, who the Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and the Thailand. It was signed by those countries' foreign ministers on 8th August 1967. Okay. So since then, the membership has been expanded till now, and it stands at 10. So the Sultanate of the Brunei joined in 1984, Vietnam on 20th July 1995, Laos and Myanmar on 23rd July 1997, and Cambodia on 30th April 1999. So around this, they are like a population has about been like 500 million, and with a total area of 4.5 million square kilometers, and that has actually combined a GDP of 737 US dollar billion US dollars. Okay. A total trade, if you see, it has been a 720 billion dollars, US billion dollars here. So combined of those. So now let us see what are the factors that has made for the evolution of ASEAN countries here, or the Asian. The main factors that was actually as this organization, this ASEAN organization was actually inspired because of those threats that they had with the extra regional powers. One such was the impact of Cold War. At that time, there was the Cold War that was happening within the countries, and there was a political instability and fear that, and there was an actually Vietnam was going with the expansion drive with the support of the Soviet Union here. Next cause was the this Asian was enjoys this security relations with the US, and the security aspect was driving force behind this Asian movement here. Okay, this security that was being given by the US, that is one of the factor you can say. Next was there was a difference in the anti-communist flavor. Next was the Asian was the pro-Western countries. Okay, in the wake of this escalation of this Vietnam War that was happened in the 1960s. So the motivations of this birth of this ASEAN was it wanted to concentrate on the nation building and the common fear of communism. Okay. Next, it wanted to reduce its mistrust with the external powers in the 1960s, as well as for a desire to have this economic development. Okay. Next, we'll see the objectives of the ASEAN. Such their objective is they wanted to accelerate the growth, economic growth. They wanted to have this. The ASEAN objective is to have this economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region. They have to promote regional peace and stability. It has to promote the active collaboration. It has to join with actively with its member states, and there could be a mutual assistance and the common interest in the matters of economic, social, cultural, technical, and the scientific administrative fields as well. It should provide assistance in the form of training and the research facilities regarding in the research and training should be done in the educational, technical, and the administrative spheres. Next, it has to promote Southeast Asian studies. It has to collaborate. It has to join with the greater using of the agriculture industries, and it has to expand the trade here. Next, it has to maintain a very good, closed, and a beneficial um, with a cooperation with the existing international and the regional organizations, so that they could have a same aim and the purpose. Okay. Next step, we'll see what are the fundamental principles of ASEAN here. This was actually contained in the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, which was signed in 1976, TAC, Treaty of Amity and the Cooperation in South Asia. So where it has fundamental principles of they should respect, they should be mutually respecting their independence. For the independence, if you see this Asian or also the newly um, independent countries, they should respect for the independence, sovereignty, their supreme powers and the equality. They should treat with equality, territorial integrity, respect each other's integrity and national identity of among all those member states nations. So every state should lead for its free from external interference. Okay. And should be subversion and should be coercion. And there should be non-interference. You are not involved in any other member states matters. There should be a settlement of differences or disputes in a very peaceful manner if they are having any problems within those member countries, and there should be a renunciation for the use of force, of threat of use of force, and they should be effectively cooperating themselves. So these are all the fundamental principles that has been based on the ASEAN. We'll see the organization and the functioning of the ASEAN. So it has a permanent secretariat. ASEAN has a permanent secretariat. The headquarters were there in the Jakarta, Indonesia, and it was set up in the 1976. And this secretariat is the highest decision making organ. And this highest decision making organ is where the meetings of this Asian heads of those states and the governments held every year. Okay. So this consists of a conference, standing committee, secretariat, and a permanent and ad hoc committees here. And this ministerial conference is actually again it is consists of foreign minister of a member state. Then this conference it again holds a periodically consultations with the matters regarding to the military and other matters that are relating to that area. Okay. So generally, if we see these meetings are held every year annually, and the standing committee meets whenever it is necessary with the ministers for the consultation. So during this few years of this existence of this ASEAN, there was a little progress towards this regional cooperation. However, in 1975, this ASEAN has actually went towards a great transformation, and it began a very great move from the 1975, and it actually not only enlarged all its administrative machinery, but it also made a very serious proposals in matters relating to respect of economic cooperation, and it has actually took a unified, uniting stand on the extra regional affairs as well. And one of the writers here, he is saying that without doubt the machinery has been refined, the framework strengthened, and a momentum create for a more serious approach to regionalism. So he is saying that without any doubt that the work has been again revamped, again went a great transformation. It refined, it made itself again fresh, and it has made a good framework, and it has strengthened its. And then there was a move that has been created, and that move has actually meant towards the approaching towards the regionalism here. So it is rightly pointed out by him. So we'll now see the India and the Asian relations. While India in the start, USSR existed in that time. USSR has been existent, and India had not developed a friendly approach towards this Asian, since this India has actually had this geopolitical position demands, and that was closest towards her Southeast Asian neighbors, and it has become essential for India, so it should have to develop closer connect coordination with this Asian. So India has showed a very good interest to join this organization, but What happened? Countries like Indonesia, Thailand, and the Philippines, they were not in favor of India to join this ASEAN because India was towards the socialist Russia. That's the reason they do not wanted to favor India getting into picture. However, by this 1992, India has become, it was able to become a part of sectoral dialogue partner of this Asian. What is sectoral dialogue partner is nothing but you are meant there as a, you are being a member for a limited time here. That is what it is meant as a sectoral dialogue partner. So this has actually, this sectoral dialogue partner process has been initiated towards cooperating its linkage with the regional groupings here. Okay. So this sectoral dialogue partnership here, it is meant so that it allowed India to have this limited cooperation with this Asian. Okay, they were like areas like culture, tourism, and certain other categories that were including of the trade. In 1994, what happened? Science and technology that was added to this three things, to this culture, tourism, trade. Along with that trade, in 1994, science and technology was added, and in 1999, Fifth Asian Summit has confirmed this India as the full-fledged member of the Asian here. So that has enabled India to have multidimensional cooperation with this Asian here. In 1996, India has made a member of this Asian Regional Forum, ARF. So where they have discussed major security issues in the regards of the region, including the relationships among the major powers, how they could develop the relationship with the major powers, and the non-proliferation, and how they can counter terrorism and transnational crime that is happening beyond the boundaries. And in 2002, India has become a summit partner of this Asian that is called as ASEAN plus one here. So whereas this higher level visits from this Asian and the visits from the India by some of the Indian ministers that has helped improve this bilateral relations between this India and the Asian groups here. Okay, so let us now see the significance of the Asian. So this Asian significance of Asian lies in the how it has been representing, how it has been efforting in representing the develop its Asian solution to the Asian problems in a very good cooperative arrangement. So that yeah, although it has actually concerned on this economic and the social problems, whereas it has also tried to reduce the foreign influence towards its region, and it has actually made the foreign bases in the region also that are meant to be temporary, not as a permanent, but as a temporary. And it has taken very the association has also undertaken, has taken many projects, okay, so that they could improve tourism, shipping, fishing, trading. So these are very common within these regions here, so Asian regions that we can see. As towards this close of 1997, this Asian countries that has literally faced a very serious financial crisis, and there was a bit that was had. There was because of that financial crisis, they made a bidding, right? So this bidding was made to resolve this crisis at the Kuala Lumpur in December 1997. At this summit, the Asian leaders, they actually called for national, regional, and the international efforts. They also included the major economists as well and the international financial institutions like we have IMF and all, so that they could overcome this financial problem. So in 1998, what happened? The finance ministers of these Asian countries, they again met at Singapore and they again did a bid so that they could arrive at an agreement regarding this implementation of this regional currency that could be done for the regional payment of intra-regional trade, intra-regional, not inter, intra with other countries. but it could not achieve the expected goal here. Okay. Again in 1999, again in 1999, this finance ministers of the Asian, they again, what say, they held this Singapore meeting that was held at Singapore, and they have developed an action plan so that they could create a Asian e-space. Okay, now here they have been held a meeting in the year 1998 so that they could create a Asian e-space here. So actually, they decided to have a very good, um, great high level of task force, very great level of task force that they could have here, and they actually decided to have a very good high level risk taking management that could be consisting of those experts coming from the private and the public sector, so they could develop those action plans that could cover all those physical, legal, logistical, social, and the economic infrastructural aspects of this Asian e-space. Okay. So the finance minister here also agreed so that they could create a three Asian investment promotions. Okay. Japan, USA, and the Europe. They could make the foreign capital flow towards this Southeast Asia. So in November 1999, the leaders of this Asian, they again met at Manila, Philippines, and they decided to advantage the target of this elimination of those tariffs from 2015, tariffs from 2010 to 2015 here, and they also meetings that was held with the representatives of China, Japan, and South Korea. And they in that meeting they agreed for the mutual understanding and trust with the very sensitive matters here that are relating to the political security. And they also agreed in tackling overcoming the transnational issues of common concerns. These countries actually face a very great problems of drug trafficking here, piracy, and also the terrorist activities. These are very commonly seen here. So they agreed to cooperate in tackling such issues, such big issues that are concerning towards these activities. So in November 2000, there was a fourth informal summit that was held at ASEAN plus 3. Plus 3 is nothing but the China, Japan, and the South Korea that was held in again Singapore. In this summit, they announced the launch of the Initiative for Asian Integration (IAI), so that they could provide the framework um, towards that regional cooperation through the more developed Asian members here, so they could help each other at their most needed times. And this IAI, it could concentrate on the mainly on the three factors. Those three factors are nothing but the education, skill development, and the worker training here. Okay, so this worker training, and however in 2000 November 2000, this heads of the state of this governments, they signed an Asian framework agreement with an objective they could cooperate to develop, strengthen, and enhance this competitiveness of this information technology in the Asian. And the other objectives of this agreement, they had the digital divide here. They wanted to reduce this digital divide within this Asian member states here, so that they could promote this liberalization of the IT products, information technology products, services, and the investments here. So if we see, however, the Asian has been made the image of this political solidarity. In spite, it has a lot of internal differences in case of Chinese intervention in Kampuchean affair also. This, as this Asian has actually able to impress the outsider world that an interference with one Asian government would be a matter of concern of all the 10 other members here who are including as a member states here. So in economic matters, the main function of this Asian is again the solidarity. Okay, how well you are cooperating, how well mutually cooperating you are, how well you are respecting. So the survival of this political order and the Asian organization, it actually depends on the national resilience in how well you are creating or mobilizing the internal resources. Internal resources are nothing but many factors. It can be the people, it can be the resources, financial things, government, anything. Internal resources in a very good, efficient, and the equitable manner. So this is what your SARC and ASEAN is. So we have seen how this South Asia has been constituted as an important region in the Asia, and we have seen the beginning of the SARC, and we have seen the initiation of SARC that has been came from the Bangladesh president late Ziaur Rahman, and we have also seen the creation of Asian ASEAN in the 1967 through this Bangkok Declaration, and we have now seen the significance of this Asian in the international affairs that has been actually lied with the efforts of the developing Asian solution to the Asian problems in a very good cooperative arrangement. So this is what today's regional corporation is. Thank you.